Before this team, football had positions. A goalkeeper stood in goal, defenders defended, midfielders connected, strikers attacked. Then Rinus, Michels and Johan Cruyff arrived at the 1974 World Cup in West Germany and showed the football world that positions were just a suggestion. What they played was something new, something fluid, something that could not be defended against in the traditional sense, because the traditional sense was exactly what it refused to obey. They called it total football. The Netherlands did not win the 1974 World Cup. They are remembered as though they did. This is their story. Total football was not simply a formation or a tactic. It was a philosophy about the nature of football itself. The principle was this: any outfield player could at any moment take on the role of any other. When a right back pushed forward into attack, a midfielder dropped to cover. When a striker pressed high, a midfielder ran in behind. The shape of the team was not fixed. It was alive, constantly reshaping itself around the ball and around the available space. It required extraordinary fitness. Every player had to be capable of doing everything: defending, attacking, pressing, creating, not just specialists in one. It required extraordinary intelligence. Each player had to read the game fast enough to know where they were needed before the ball arrived. And it required, above all, trust. Trust that when you vacated your position to go somewhere else, someone else would cover the space you had left. The system had been developed first at Ajax Amsterdam, where Cruyff played before his transfer to Barcelona. Ajax had won the European Cup 3 consecutive times: 1971, 1972 and 1973, using this precise philosophy. The 1974 World Cup would be its first major international stage. At the centre of everything were 2 men. Rinus Michels was the architect. A former footballer himself, he had developed total football as a coaching system at Ajax across the 1960s and early 1970s, before following Cruyff to Barcelona. He was methodical, demanding, and utterly convinced that football played intelligently was football that could not be beaten. Johan Cruyff was the engine. Born in Amsterdam in 1947, he had joined Ajax as a 10-year-old boy and spent his entire footballing youth inside the system that Michels was developing. By 1974, he was 27 years old, already recognised as one of the best players in the world, and carrying the shirt number 14 that he had insisted on against the wishes of his own federation. The Dutch Football Association had assigned him number 1, and Cruyff refused to wear it. The story of the number is telling. Cruyff operated by his own rules, not out of selfishness, but because his understanding of football was so sophisticated that conventional thinking, whether about positions or shirt numbers, was simply insufficient. The 1974 World Cup was held in West Germany, a country that had won the European Championship 2 years earlier under coach Helmut Schön and arrived as one of the tournament favourites. Franz Beckenbauer, perhaps the most elegant and intelligent sweeper the game had seen, led a team of genuine quality. For the Netherlands, just reaching the tournament had been an achievement in itself. They had not appeared in a World Cup final tournament since 1938, 36 years of absence. Cruyff himself had been instrumental in the qualifying campaign, scoring 7 goals to help the Netherlands edge Belgium on goal difference. Their group, Group 3, included Uruguay, Sweden and Bulgaria. Matches were played across 3 cities: Dortmund, Hanover and Düsseldorf. The Netherlands walked out for their opening match on June 15, 1974 and announced themselves immediately. June 15, 1974, Netherlands 2, Uruguay 0. Cruyff, wearing his insistence on number 14, dominated the match so completely that he registered 107 touches, at least 23 more than any other player and reached the Uruguayan penalty area 16 times. June 19th, at the Westfalenstadion in Dortmund against Sweden, the match finished goalless. By all conventional measures, a dull result. But this was the match that gave the world something it would never forget. A pass dropped from the sky. Cruyff controlled it instantly. A Swedish defender, Johan Olsson, closed him down, certain he had read what was coming. Cruyff feinted to cross the ball with his right foot, a glancing look across his body. Olsson shifted his weight to block the cross. Cruyff then dragged the ball back behind his standing leg with his right foot, pivoting 180 degrees in a single fluid movement, and left Johan Olsson standing still while he accelerated away in the opposite direction. "I wasn't completely sure what he'd done," Olsson said years later, "but I knew it was something outrageous. Every time I watch the video now, I think the ball is mine, but every time he surprises me." The Cruyff Turn had been born, in a goalless draw, in the group stage, unrehearsed, spontaneous, perfectly executed. The football world had never seen its like. The second round group was even more decisive. June 26th, Netherlands 4, Argentina 0. Cruyff scored twice. The Argentines, who had eliminated Poland from the first group stage, were outclassed entirely. The final scoreline did not flatter the Netherlands. It may have flattered Argentina. June 30th, Netherlands 2, East Germany 0. Another clean sheet. Another controlled performance. And then, July 3rd, came the match that settled the final. Netherlands versus Brazil. The defending world champions, the team that had won the Jules Rimet Trophy permanently in 1970, with what many still considered the most beautiful football ever played. Brazil were not that team in 1974. Pelé had retired. Gerson was injured. What remained was a physically combative side that had made up for a lack of its 1970 creativity with aggression. It did not help them against the Dutch. Second half goals from Johan Cruyff and Cruyff put the Netherlands 2-0 ahead. Brazil, the defending champions, the holders, the team that had beaten them to the 1970 crown, were eliminated from the tournament. The Netherlands were through to the final. July 7th, 1974. The Olympiastadion, Munich. Approximately 75,200 people in attendance. The first time the current FIFA World Cup trophy, designed by Italian sculptor Silvio Gazzaniga, would be awarded to anyone. Brazil had kept the Jules Rimet Trophy permanently in 1970. This was a new era, a new trophy, and a new champion waiting to be named. The final was delayed slightly before kickoff by an almost comical piece of disorganisation. The closing ceremony of the tournament had been held in the Olympiastadion before the match itself, and when the ground staff cleared away the ceremonial decorations, they forgot to replace the corner flags. The two finalists and the referee waited on the pitch while staff scrambled to find and reinstall them. When the corner flags were finally in place, the match began. 60 seconds later, it almost felt over. The Netherlands kicked off. Cruyff received the ball near the halfway line. He ran. He accelerated through the West German midfield, drove into the penalty area and was brought down by Uli Rinus. Referee Jack Taylor of England pointed immediately to the spot. Not a single West German player had touched the ball. The World Cup final was less than a minute old, and the Netherlands had a penalty. Johan Cruyff stepped up. He hammered the ball into the centre of the goal as the goalkeeper dived to his right. 1-0. The Olympiastadion fell momentarily silent. Then the Dutch fans erupted. The West German fans sat in disbelief. It was, and remains, one of the most extraordinary opening sequences in World Cup final history. A team that had played total football all tournament had, within the first 2 minutes, scored a goal before the opposition had even touched the ball. West Germany did not panic. This was a team built around composure, led by Beckenbauer, who had brought calm authority to every crisis the team had faced in qualifying and in the tournament itself. They absorbed the shock of conceding before touching the ball, and they began, methodically, to find their way back into the match. 25th minute, Bernd Holzenbein drove into the Dutch penalty area and went down under a challenge from Wim Jansen. Referee Jack Taylor pointed to the spot for the second time in one final. The first 2 penalties ever awarded in a World Cup final had now both been given in the same match. Paul Breitner stepped up and scored. 1-1. West Germany had the momentum now. The Netherlands, who had dominated so completely from the opening kick, found themselves struggling against a team that simply refused to be overwhelmed. 43rd minute, Gerd Müller, perhaps the most clinical finisher of his generation, turned in the Dutch penalty area and drove the ball past Jan Jongbloed. 2-1 to West Germany, and that, with 1 minute to go before half-time, was how it stayed. The second half was played entirely by the Netherlands. They pressed, they probed, they created chances that in any other match they would have converted. But West Germany's goalkeeper, Sepp Maier, was outstanding. The German defence, reorganised and resolute, refused to yield. And Müller's goal before half-time had given the hosts an iron-hard mental advantage. 1 goal ahead, playing at home with everything the crowd's noise and the weight of national expectation behind them. The final whistle blew. 2-1 to West Germany. West Germany were world champions for the second time. And the Netherlands, the team that had arguably produced the most captivating, innovative and complete football of the entire tournament, walked off the Olympiastadion pitch as runners-up. Johan Cruyff was awarded the Golden Ball, the tournament's Best Player award, despite the Netherlands finishing as runners-up. He had created more goal-scoring chances than any player at the tournament, 36 in total. No player in the 11 World Cups since 1974 has matched that number in a single tournament. He was 27 years old. He had a body that would carry him through further seasons at Barcelona, further achievements in club football, but he never returned to a World Cup. In 1978, when the Netherlands reached the World Cup final again, Cruyff was absent. He has given various reasons over the years, including family security concerns related to a kidnapping attempt on his family in 1977. The 1974 World Cup was, therefore, his one chance at the trophy his football deserved. He did not get it. West Germany won the 1974 World Cup. That record is unambiguous and permanent. But football remembers 1974 differently. It remembers orange. It remembers the turn. It remembers a team that played with a freedom and intelligence that the game had never quite produced before. The influence of Rinus Michels and Johan Cruyff did not end in Munich. Cruyff became a manager and took the ideas of total football to Barcelona, where they became the philosophical foundation of everything the club has built in the decades since. La Masia, Barcelona's youth academy, runs on principles first articulated at Ajax in the 1960s and displayed to the world at the 1974 World Cup. The pressing systems used by modern football's most successful clubs, the fluid positional play, the emphasis on technical intelligence over physical power, the idea that a footballer should be able to play in multiple positions, not just one. All of it traces back to the orange shirts of West Germany, 1974. Cruyff died in 2016. The football world mourned him as it mourns very few people. not merely as a great player, but as a thinker who changed what football thought it was. They came to West Germany in 1974, having not played in a World Cup for 36 years. They left as runners-up, a result that felt, and still feels, insufficient for the football they played. But West Germany owns the trophy. The Netherlands owns the romance. And the Cruyff Turn, invented in a goalless draw in Dortmund on the 19th of June 1974, is still being taught to children all over the world today. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe. We publish a new piece of football history every single day. Next time, we return to Brazil, to a semi-final in 2014, and the most shocking scoreline in World Cup history. Until then, sometimes football's greatest teams are not the ones who lift the trophy. They are the ones who change what the trophy is worth lifting for.